recording. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm gonna share my slides. Okay, we got plenty of people joining already. I'm sure we have a few more filtering in. As always, welcome to today's town hall. I'm going to kickstart with a couple of housekeeping updates, and then we'll get into the juicy topics that we have lined up for you today. So again, welcome to our bi-weekly town hall. As always, we are live streaming and recording this session. So if you get disconnected at any time, head on over to YouTube. You can keep track of things there. You can watch it live. You can watch afterwards. Today, we have a bunch of product updates, but we also have a bunch of new joiners on our team. So there's absolutely tons of us on the panel today. So lots of new faces that are going to come on and say hello. As always, though, after those updates from our side, we're going to move into the audience Q&A. So that's going to be an opportunity for you to raise your hand and come on stage towards the end of the session. If you do want to do that at any point, you'll be able to use the react button at the bottom, and then there's the raise hand button in there. And then if you've got any questions throughout the session, we've got Jen and Dawn helping out in the chat. And so if you use the Q&A functionality at the bottom, that helps us keep track of those. That's lots easier than using the chat itself. Really just kind of helps keep all those questions kind of collated and in one place. So that's it from me. I'm now going to hand over to Pierre to give us some updates and share some new joiner news.
Yeah, some new joiner news. We've been very busy actually in the past few months recruiting, we believe, greatly talented people to be joining a team, and rather than introducing themselves one at a time, why not make it a batch so they can share in the trauma of having this bit of a rite of passage of joining the company and introducing themselves to the tunnel. So yeah, first let's start from the engineers. They are the one building the stuff, and first Akan, who is joining us out of Finland. And now is the moment to turn your camera on and to unmute yourself so we can introduce yourself. Akan, how are you doing? What are you doing?
Hello, Hakan here. I'm joining you from the deceptive listen in Helsinki. I have joined the company just 2 weeks ago and only getting started with the product work. I'm on the connectivity team, and that means I will be working on the OTA integrations such as AirBnB, VRBO, and Booking.
And there's plenty on the way. And today, congratulations, because you passed your product test. How was it with Sam and the team?
Yeah, with just them, and it was a good one.
Yeah, you survived, so that's a good thing. Everybody working on product, joining the team, needs to undertake a product test, which is a lot of in-depth questions about the product about 2 weeks in. Thank you, Akan. Dimitri is not joining us now because he's actually on vacation. But we have Tom. Tom joined us quite a bit of time ago with the direct team, actually starting all the way back in June. Tom, how are you doing?
Hi all. Yes, my name is Tom. I'm from the Netherlands, where I live together with my girlfriend. I've joined Hospitable, I think, 3 months ago now, on the direct team as a product engineer. I already have worked on some features, so maybe you have seen some of it. I've worked on the statistics dashboard for direct sites. And I've also been working on optimizations on the sites themselves and on the templates. So more improvements there to come. Would love to hear some feedback if I get to ever speak to one of you. And yeah, great working here so far.
Yeah, Tom is working on sites for direct. That's the kind of thing that definitely people are hearing on the other side, and there's plenty of work. So at least it's good for you. You have great job security. I've created the slides. I noted there will be 3 more engineers coming soon. Turns out, as I was making those slides, there is another person that will need to be presented with an offer call. Optimistically, that means they're going to be joining the team because there's no surprise in the offer call at this point in time. So 4 more engineers that should be added to the team probably between November and December, as we are recruiting those engineering roles by coincidence in Europe, and therefore they have a little bit of a greater notice period. We have also added this week 2 new people in our team that are product managers. So they are the people that are shaping the products and what the features are like, and manage on the business side of things. So those are very impactful role for a company like ours. And I'm going to start with Abby, joining from the direct team. So yeah, hello Abby, good day. How is it going?
Good. It's my second day here, so I still have quite a bit to learn. But my name is Abby. I'm located in St. Petersburg, Florida, but I'm from Michigan originally, so I'm a Midwesterner at heart. I'm actually, as Pierre said, I'm joining as the product manager for Direct. But I actually come from a healthcare background. So I worked for 7 years at a B2B healthcare SaaS company, is specifically within payments. So I get to bring some of that payments expertise to Direct. And I love talking to customers. So looking forward to hopefully meeting some of you soon.
Abby, you were particularly impressive for your case study and the fact that you already interviewed like a list of people as part of your research to join. So congrats on that. You're going to have plenty. Now, you don't have to, you open your calendar, you open your email, you're going to receive plenty of requests for that. We also have Tim joining in a more core role across everything. Tim, why don't you show up on stage now? Yeah.
Hello.
Here you go. How's it going?
Hi. So far, so good. So this is my third day with Hospitable. I am based in Rhode Island with my wife from the UK, Wales originally. I have spent most of my career so far as a product manager working in insurance across a bunch of different verticals and markets. So now joining Hospitable to focus on insurance offerings specifically. Initially, a little bit ambiguous maybe in parts, but initially focusing on small damage claims for the direct product. So hopefully some exciting news will come soon with that.
Yep, and there will be something to share by Andrew a little bit later today on that. So thank you so very much. Working insurance, oh, curious. Last but not least, so we have 3 engineers, 2 product managers, and we now have even 1 VP. And the funny thing about Derek is that you've already heard his voice on those town halls. Derek, who are you?
Well, hello. By the way, VP means very probable to mess things up. I'm Derek. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. I have been a host for 10 years. I've been a Hospitable customer for 3 years. And so now I'm on the other side, which is fun. I will be supporting our sales organization. So how many of you came to know Hospitable is someone reached out from our amazing sales team, helped do a demo, and helped onboard you. So I'll be supporting that team. I will also be supporting, and we are building out a customer success organization, which will be post-sales individuals who will be checking in on you and trying to connect you with all the latest and greatest product. You saw all those product engineers who are shipping great product. But if I look at our numbers here, we have 164 attendees. Let's say between live views, maybe we get 300 or 400. We've got almost 14,000 customers. So the customer success manager's job is to bring the goodness to you and connect you with everything that's going on in the product. So we will be building out that organization. So I'm happy to join. Yes, and with that said, we are hiring. So unless Pierre, you have anything else, we'll go to the next slide. I'll take the first 2 roles here. So we are hiring an account executive. That is a salesperson. So if you or anyone you know can work Pacific time hours, so that'll be like 9 to 5 Pacific hours. We have a lot of trials coming in during that time, and we would like to be able to be responsive and set up meetings during that time. We also are hiring a customer success manager, as mentioned. This can be really anywhere in America time zone, and all they have to do is work those time zones. We're open to people from all over the world, of course. These jobs are posted. I see a question that came in. What exactly does the job demand? Well, there is a link there, and you can QR code. We have the full job description there. And I will pass it over to Pierre to cover the rest of the roles. Thank you.
There's another question. How big is the sales org? We actually have 6 people doing sales now full time, including Derek and Vera, who is still very much here and in the chat. So no worries about that. So we can build on the fantastic experience that Vera has been having doing sales for the product. We just need to grow that part as well. So we're still recruiting for product roles. So we have an immense number of candidates to be going through. To be fair, and note it down for the designer role, and that's about 1,600 candidates for one position that we currently are going through. We're going to start the interviews next week. For the product manager connectivity, that's 1,500 candidates. And for the front-end role that was published just, I think, last week, we already had 1,400 candidates for one position. All of those, we're very happy to have plenty of candidates. There is definitely a ChatGPT impact on the number of applicants, because if you can write a cover letter, you can apply in a much faster way. I'm going to be able to say it now. But the thing is, yeah, we're looking for people that have some special sauce in those roles. And unfortunately, I would love to have some bragging rights about 1,500 high-quality applications. That would be an absolute nightmare. It is already an absolute nightmare. But yeah, there is unfortunately not that many high-quality applications that we're receiving all over the place, but we still have to go through nonetheless. So plenty of new people joining the team, plenty of new people that we're still going to be recruiting and sign already on the roadmap. At this stage, that means we're 46% over cap. Hospitable is doing things a bit differently here. I do not want to build a bloated organization with thousands of employees and 5 layers of management. I don't think that's the way you can do business in the 2020s. I think this is a terrible experience for the employees that basically get their ownership and the impact of their work completely diluted away. And I've rather focus on having a high revenue per employee. Done a bit of research. It's very common for a company in a space to have about $80,000 of revenue per employee. We're at 330. That just means we are able to pay them well, offer them a high safety net, and great benefits, obviously, more importantly, a great work where they can show what they are made of. We want to have a cap at 100. It's just a few things. There's a lot of talk in the startup world now about founder mode. I find the 100 cap is really the best way to protect ourselves against having managers that are just for the sake of management, having layers, not really contributing to the big value of the business to their contribution. It's also the Dunbar number. You cannot have more than 150 stable social connections. Life could not be work should not be taking all of those connections. So yeah, capping at 100 where you can know everyone that's part of the company, so that it can be really a great company. So yeah, obviously it's a bit laughable to say capped at 100 when we are at 46 in-house on a salary grid. People, but I just want to start getting that out there because that's hopefully a great repellent to people that just want to join a big team. It's not a big team, it doesn't aim to be as well. With that transition, without further ado, we can move on to other items brought to you by Nick. Yeah, plenty of exciting development there. Thank you.
Well, everyone from the coast of southern Sicily for the next 2 weeks for me. Nice and sunny here. AI updates. First up, as reported over the last few town halls, so we have a in progress two-way integration with TouchStay. TouchStay, of course, if you don't know, they provide beautiful digital guidebooks for your properties that you can share with your guests. And so far, we've had an integration with them where you can set up your guidebook on TouchStay and send it through our messaging rules to your guests on Hospitable. Now we're doing the following. We're allowing the TouchStay content that you have to automatically, seamlessly come into Hospitable to power or to add more context, more information to the AI when you're using, for example, Suggest with AI. This has been in development for the past few weeks, and really happy to report that we're starting a private pilot with a few customers this week, as we're just today gotten kind of final go ahead on both fronts that we're finalizing the integration. So you can look forward to getting that unlocked for you if you have a TouchStay integration in the coming days and week. pretty much. One more thing on the Knowledge Hub, as you might have seen if you tried to import something into the Knowledge Hub over the last week or so, the Ask the AI box was missing, even though it was described in the documentation, and some of you reached out to us. There was an issue, and this has now been fixed. You can query the Knowledge Hub after an import once again. It's a small thing, but it does matter. So that for now is it on the Knowledge Hub. Let's talk about the Inbox AI. There's a big thing coming, which is that one more kind of big piece of the puzzle that's been missing so far is all the messages that you as host have sent to past guests. The AI has so far not had access to that, not seen that, to be able to use that to formulate messages. We've been providing context about the property, about the current conversation, guest, and the Knowledge Hub, but we're now unlocking past history with all of your guests for Suggest with AI. And how are we going to do that? Next slide, please, Miles. So what's happening here is that when clicking on Suggest with AI, we look at what the current guest message is. We look through your entire history within a matter of a couple of seconds, basically, or less than a second in this case, to find highly similar messages from other guests. And then what you as the host have immediately responded to those messages. We run some AI on all of that data really quickly in a matter of seconds to find kind of the pattern there, if there is one, and use that as the prototype message then to give the AI saying, look, in this case, you have done this in the past. And that should lead to a much more consistent both tone of voice and obviously like factual information that the AI can be grounded in. So what this actually means at our scale is that we need to process over 100 million messages from all of our hosts just in the last 18 months or so, because for now we've kind of set an internal constraint. We're not going to have the entire history because we want to have the most relevant stuff up front. We can do the entire history going back years, but 18 months for now. But even then, we're talking about the 100 million message range across our entire database of messages. So it's going to take a little bit of time to process all of that to make it ready for the AI. But we're starting essentially today. We have the following kind of rollout plan. We're testing with about 25 accounts. This is a mix of accounts across different customer segments, but in particularly those that have been quite active using AI in the inbox. We're going to be monitoring and seeing how this new functionality performs. Towards the end of this week, going into early next week, we're going to have about 1,000 accounts that this is rolling out to, and probably towards the end of next week, all hosts and obviously everyone on this call will have access to this. You won't need to do anything. It will just work for you in the background. There's nothing new to configure, nothing to enable anywhere. It's just one more additional piece of information or pieces of information the AI will have access to from your account. And quite frankly, it should work like this anyway for any AI system having access to your data. So a big unlock to look forward to in the next few days / week. I think that's it for AI that I wanted to talk about.
All right, let's jump into Direct. And if you were paying attention in the first part, I won't be doing these that much longer. We have a new Direct product manager, so I probably have just 1 or 2 more town halls left in me here for Direct updates. We'll start with something kind of fun, but also real. On the fraud side, just a public service announcement. You should not let guests into your property without a reservation. I'm going to share an anecdote that happened this week. I'm not going to name any names, of course, but I think it's a great learning opportunity for all of us. So this happened this week. We had a guest message. I'll put guest in quotes there. They weren't really a guest. Message a host with a screenshot of the review and confirm page on the Hospitable direct booking flow and say, hey, I've got a reservation. Why can't I check in? What are the check-in instructions? I need to get in. And that prompted a support ticket. And we kind of looked into it and we said, well, no, you don't have a booking yet. They haven't actually created the booking. We don't have a payment. We looked into the payments and we saw 3 rejected cards. So 3 different cards, failure to authenticate with 3DS, issuer suspected fraud. Pretty good signals, not always a fraud, but then, what started to happen as this 3-way conversation between the direct support team, which Don was amazing on, kind of helping this host understand that this was not a booking. I think there was a classic kind of emotional manipulation happening with the guest. As it turns out, they were creating urgency. So this was a last-minute booking. They said it was an emergency. They were trying to get into the house. They were blaming a technical error for the reservation not getting created. So all of these things, I think the host's natural reaction was to be empathetic and to let them into their house, which they did, which we do not recommend. And that's why we're talking about this. So I wrote down some of the quotes from the host to put yourself in their shoes. They admitted that they don't technically have a booking yet. They're already in the property. I had to let them in. It was instant book and I wanted to take it. It was an emergency for them. They needed this unexpectedly. So just a heads up that, hey, the internet, there are a lot of people out there and this does happen. We do see fraud. We try and block it as much as we can. But there was no reservation there. So make sure that, you're keeping your head on straight. Last minute bookings are always more dangerous. So if you're using direct premium and you're getting guest vetting information when you actually have a reservation on a last minute booking, please do look through that information. You're always taking a little bit of a gamble last minute because that's where you see the most fraud. We're doing our job on our side. If it gets passed to you, we've said it doesn't look like fraud from our side. We're pretty good at it, not 100%. This one actually never even got to us. It never got to the guest vetting. This was someone trying to scam the host. They actually sent what was probably a doctored email saying that the payment had been processed from their credit card company. So yeah, just have your radar on. It's a dangerous world out there. On to more happy notes. Our mission at Hospitable is to save you time. I think all of us would probably appreciate spending less time on taxes. So for our direct premium hosts, we kind of teased what we were going to confirm in this town hall in the previous one. So now official confirmation, and we'll be emailing all these hosts that have properties in these states if you're on direct premium to let you know that if you are in the state of Arizona, Maine, or Washington, and including our previous host from Tennessee, you no longer have to worry about your taxes on direct from September 1. So all of those transactions now from September 1, we are collecting the tax for Hospitable and we will remit and file on your behalf. So you no longer have to worry about those. Everything before that, make sure you clear up. Those were all pass-through taxes before September 1 that you need to be filing on for yourself. Michigan and Texas, we're only able to do the state level filing at this time, unfortunately, but still one less filing for you to do. So Michigan, the state use tax, that's a sales and use tax, specifically use tax for Michigan, and Texas, your state lodging tax is collected at the state level. We'll start remitting that and filing that for you from September 1. So nice win there for the direct premium hosts in those states. Next month, we'll have another whole round of expansion territory there on the taxes side. Okay, on to other updates. So the larger narrative for direct, the team that we've been working on is how to improve conversions. So that has everything from improving sites to increasing payment methods that are available to the payment terms update that we've been talking about in the last several town halls. You met Tom Rulofs at the start of this call. He is quickly becoming our site expert. So we fixed a long-standing, it felt like a bug with Hospitable site templates from the beginning of Direct is if you only had one site, our 2-page templates where we had a list view of all your properties and then property details views, that never worked if you were a single property. There was no reason to land a customer on a list view for a single property and then have them click through to a detail view. So I think we did a great job fixing this. Thanks, Tom, for your work on that. This should improve conversions. We're going to drop people on the page where they can convert into a booking, not make them go through extra hoops. And we didn't break any of your URLs. So if you've been sharing your property detail URL, that's still going to work. Your canonical link, so we did the SEO right when we did this update, is now your subdomain. So your main landing page for your Hospitable site, that's what's going to now show your property detail page. So nothing for you to do. Everyone's updated. You're going to have a better functioning site. This only impacts people on hospitable sites that have only one property listed. If you end up adding a second property, or maybe you only have one listed now, you kind of switch, it updates automatically. So you'll go to that 2-page template when you have more than one property listed. And yeah, great update there. Moving on. Otherwise on the sites, this is also Tom's update. So for hospitable sites now, you will see a marketing tab in your site. So if you click on your site in Hospitable, there's now a new marketing section in that inner sidebar, and you can put in your own Google Tag Manager or Meta Pixel. So if you're running Facebook ads and you want to track conversions from those ads to your Hospitable site, that's now possible. Same with Google Tag Manager. If you're using that for Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager is pretty extensible. You could be doing it for a lot of different things. Those are now self-serve. In the past, that was we were supporting Google Tag Manager only. You had to contact support. This is much easier. Everybody can do this. The corollary to this is we're working on a cookie policy manager. Obviously, some of this is not supported in areas with GDPR. So we are going to be coming out with a cookie manager solution for direct sites. That's in the works. And we're also working, I think Gil is on this call from Crafted Stays. We're working on a solution for everyone using a custom site, a self-hosted site. You're working with Boostly or Crafted Stays, or you've got your own WordPress site, whatever. We want you to be able to track your performance as well. So when you pass a guest from your custom site to the Hospitable booking flow, we're going to make sure that we can let you end-to-end track the performance and make sure you see where guests are converting. So that's site performance tracking. Switching gears a little bit. Next slide, please. So yeah, SuperHog damage protection for direct premium. If you could just give it one more click, please, Miles. I think this has always been a pain point, and you saw Tim's announcement that he's joining the team to work on this kind of experience. I think this has always been the most frustrating side of the damage protection experience for direct premium host is the small claim side. There was a $70 deductible from SuperHog, and we've kind of been pushing back on ways to make this process have less friction, be more delightful if it can be in a damage protection experience. There's always a lot of anxiety around that. How can we make that a better experience? We made one part of that. We made some progress on one part of that, and we got rid of the deductible. So now all direct premium hosts, if your reservation happened from September 1st or later, you no longer have a $70 deductible. You have no deductible. So small claims will now be honored on that side, and you won't lose out when you make a damage claim. And that's hopefully just the start. We also want to improve the overall experience. So the claims process, the time to resolution, those are all things that we're going to hopefully leverage Tim's experience and make some improvements on, and maybe come up with a product that we can use even outside of direct going forward and help you with any booking. Moving on. Just some updates on things we're working on. So unfortunately, we haven't made any additional progress now on Apple Pay and Google Pay. We're kind of stuck. We've got a call with the payment processor to work on this. It's going to go premium first and then basic, but we hope to have Apple and Google Pay up soon. We have one of our top engineers who just went on unexpected paternity leave this week, a little bit earlier than he was expecting. So that we've got to find someone else to work on this now. But yeah, the next one up after that is Pay by Bank. And I think we talked about this quite a bit at the last town hall. Lowering the payment service processing fees is really going to help us drive down the costs of direct. And we want to share those with everybody in the equation, from the guest to the host to Hospitable. We should all be winning there when we get rid of those credit card interchange fees. And last update from the direct side is, yeah, there's still ongoing progress on rental agreements. So not a whole lot of updates yet. I think that experience is already better as far as being able to preview a rental agreement template that you're scoping for direct. But we still haven't moved it out of beta, and we still are keeping it just with direct right now until those updates are done. We've gone through a nice QA process, make sure that flow feels really good for setting up and managing rental agreements for your properties, but hope to get that out soon to make it more widely available. I'm going to stay on the microphone just a little bit further because I've got some core and connectivity roadmap as well. So update on the different connectivity integrations we have. We are almost to the Agoda pilot. So that we told you last time is going to start the week of September 9th. We're almost there. So next week we'll be starting that. You can still sign up, actually, if you scan the QR code. We're looking for people that already have properties on Agoda or can get properties set up. That first start with Agoda. We'll be importing your listings from Agoda. So we won't be creating properties yet, but anyone that's already on Agoda, interested in getting set up, you can go ahead and sign up, and we'll start contacting people next week and onboarding them to the pilot for Agoda. everyone's on Airbnb, right? So we've covered updates about this. I'll try and keep it somewhat brief for this one, but the October is when everyone is going to be moving to a full PMS integration. We've talked about this in more detail in previous town halls, so you can go back and watch the recording if you're curious. The key takeaway: this is not going to be a big change for most hosts. Hospitable is moving into a more authoritative position on your calendar. And that means we're going to be able to do some kind of interesting things with prices and availability. So if we look at what that looks like on the next slide, I've been onboarding people to this all week, 2 to 3 calls a week, just doing private pilot with hosts. And this is the availability screen that you're recognized probably from Airbnb. This is now in Hospitable, which means we can copy your availability settings out to your other channels. So with the exclusion of restricted check-in and checkout, all of these settings will work on all of your channels. Restricted check-in and checkout does not work on Vrbo currently. And then I've been asking everyone I'm doing these onboarding calls with what they want to do with availability rules in kind of different ways. And we've gotten some great feedback from how you as hosts use these availability rules. So we're going to be thinking of some neat ways to think differently about them and do some kind of great behaviors to help you maximize revenue or manage the calendar in just the way you want to. So that's the early win there on availability. Okay, and so the private pilot experience has been ongoing, like I said. From next week, we're going to open this up for a self-serve upgrade. What does that look like? We're still restricting it now to Hospitable accounts that do not have co-hosted listings. We're still building out the functionality for co-hosts. So at the moment, or from next week, sorry, we'll be contacting you. We'll be letting you know that you can now go to your connected accounts page and you'll see an upgrade button on your Airbnb connected accounts. All you have to do is click on that button, reauthorize Airbnb to connect to your Hospitable account, and the update will happen. It'll be live. Nothing should change on your Airbnb account, like we said, and you'll be able to then manage your availability settings within Hospitable. And that should be the end of my announcements. And I will pass the baton to Emily, who of course is our owner statements expert.
Hey everybody. Cool. I have some owner statements improvements that we've shipped in the past 2 weeks to share with you, and then I'll also share what's in progress and what's coming next. First, so when we launched owner statements, we focused really hardcore on that initial onboarding experience. We wanted you to be able to add your owners, configure your commission, and see a statement really, really quickly. But the experience after that to set up additional properties after you had gotten through that initial onboarding wasn't as sleek, if you will. So we've just launched a new setup flow for when you're adding other properties. So you've already onboarded your first couple, you've got some owners in there, you've got your commissions in there, and maybe say in a couple weeks you take on a new property and you want to add that. So we have a new setup process for that that's super nice. When you click add property in the setup screen, you can select an existing owner or add a new one. You can select an existing commission structure or add a new one. And the experience is just a lot easier to kind of get your head around. With this, we've also released a property focused view. So you can click on any property from your owner statement section and see that property's owner, see that property's commission, that when that commission applies, like a start and an end date, and then see all of that property's statements as well. So you'll always see all your statements on the statements screen, all your transactions on the transaction screen. When you're looking from the property view, you'll see everything that relates to that specific property, just to help kind of make better sense of that. So for those of you using owner statements today, you'll notice those changes already. Some things we're working on now. Now, these are some pretty big changes, so we need some time to get this out. We have heard your feedback that we weren't allowing enough flexibility when you configured your commission. So we've decided to offer some of that flexibility while still keeping things really simple and making some really simple suggestions for what those defaults should be, what we think you should do. So this is kind of what some of those changes will look like. This is a screenshot of a mock-up, so it might look slightly different once it's actually in the product. But before, when you configured your commission, it just defaulted to taking into account the accommodation after discounts only. You couldn't add anything else into that commission calculation. But we heard from many of you that like you consider an extra guest fee to be something that you take commission off of, or you consider like a pet fee part of your revenue that you want to take commission off of. So we're changing some of the terminology slightly to make that more clear and allowing you to add those extra things that can be taken into account when you set up your commission. And similarly, we're doing something with the guest fee. So we used to call this guest fee commission. And the feedback we heard from many of you is that, well, it's not really commission. It's more just like, how are these fees split between myself and the owner? It was important to get that terminology correct, even if it is a little bit semantics. It was important for owners to see like, this is commission, and then these are just fees that I'm passing through to the property manager, who's then going to pay a cleaner, then going to pay, you know, whoever else. So we're changing that around a little bit as well. As far as how those are defined, you can set that kind of at the group level. This split applies to all fees, or you can toggle that open and set it at the fee level in case there's like one thing that you do something a little bit different with. So that's something we're working on now. And along with that, we're also working on the ability for you to edit commissions. Right now, after you create your commissions, there's no way to edit it. You have to just like delete it and start a new one. There's a lot of complexity behind the scenes with editing because we have to take into account like statements where that commission has been applied. Is it published? What type of data has been now locked down with that statement applied? And so we're trying to kind of take some of that complexity away and approach it in a really simple way, despite it being complicated kind of behind the scenes. So those are things we're working on now. Next. Okay. We have a long roadmap for owner statements specifically, but also for everything else that's going to be a part of our mogul plan that was just launched. So these are several things that are on our radar. Some we've already started to work on. Recurring transactions is a big one. This, we already allow you to add a transaction, which is then shown on a statement, but we don't allow you to schedule any type of like recurring schedule with those. So for example, if you have like a monthly trash fee, you would now have to add that once a month, which is not saving you time, it's making you spend more of it. So we're looking at, or we're working on releasing recurring transactions. So you can add that trash fee once and set it up to recur every month, every week, whatever it is that you define. Accounting integrations, another big one that I know everybody is really excited about. We'll be starting with QuickBooks Zero, following on quickly, hopefully with Sage. Customizable statement formats is another big one that a lot of people have asked for. Many hosts have said like, yeah, you display this column, but like, I don't want my owners to be bothered with that information. So I'd like to hide this column from my owners. So that's another kind of big project, allowing you to like define what your statement looks like for that particular owner. Owners portal, payment processing for owners. There's a whole lot. We have a lot to do, and we're really excited about it. So if you want to contribute your ideas, scan that QR code. That's a link to our roadmap that's filtering on mogul items specifically. So you can upvote things. If you'd also like to see that, you can add comments on each item if there's like something you really want us to know about that particular request. And also add new things if it's not already represented in one way or another on that roadmap. So please let us know what you think. What's next? Oh yeah, if you want owner statements and you don't have it yet, you can scan this QR code, lots of QR codes. This will prompt you to book a meeting with our sales team, who will be able to kickstart you on a mogul trial so you can test it out and see if it's a good fit for you. So scan that QR code if you're interested in that today. Last but not least for me, a short update with some devices. So TT Lock, we shared in the last town hall that we were kicking off a private pilot, and so far that has gone very, very well. So we are fully expecting at this point to release that for all hosts next week. So if you use TT Locks and you're not in the pilot, you can expect to see that available in your account next week. And then just kind of a point to clear up a little bit of confusion. We have two different types, if you will, of smart locks within Hospitable. You have locks that can be configured from the devices section of the product. Those are locks that are managed by Hospitable. That means we maintain that connection. We set those codes. We communicate backup codes. We do all that stuff. And that is a feature that we own. And then there's other smart locks that are built by third parties who created integrations to us that require an account with that third party to to work. So we have a lot of those. Those are on our apps page. So that's Jervis systems, remote lock, there's several more. And so I just wanted to take some time because there's been some confusion about which ones we kind of own and which ones we don't. And to make that more clear within the product, we took all the ones that we maintain and own and move them to devices. So on that apps page, that's kind of like reserved for those third-party smart locks who have built integrations to us. So either one is fine, depending on what it is you're trying to do. If you already have an account with a third party and they offer an integration, you can configure that from the apps page. That's all I got today. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you very much, Emily, and the rest of the team. So yeah, just before we get to the Q&A section, have we missed anything? Is there a feature that you're looking for that you want us to add? Let us know. So if you go to feedback.hospitable.com or scan that QR code, you can submit your suggestions on a feature that we should be building next. And you can also upvote any suggestions that are already there as well to kind of put your vote towards something that you think that we should be building and should be working on. We've got all these new engineers and product managers. They need something to do. So make sure you go and upvote your favorite features there. And then just one or two final calls out. So join our team. As we kind of said at the start, in case you missed it, we are hiring for a bunch of roles. So if any of these roles jump out at you, please do go ahead and take a look at the job descriptions over on our careers page. You can scan the QR code there. I'll head to the little short link to find out more details about each role. And then just a couple more final things from me before we get to the Q&A. Upcoming events. So again, in 2 weeks' time, we'll obviously have another of these town halls where we provide product updates and take your questions live. So you can scan that QR code to add that to your calendar now. Then also we're going to have a direct booking Q&A on September 25th. Be interested to see if it's Andrew or Abby hosting that, maybe a little bit of both. But we're going to have that session that's going to kind of be a session like this, but it's going to really delve down deep into direct, kind of the reasons to kind of choose direct, the differences between direct premium and direct basic, and also again there kind of a look at some of our recent features and what more is to come in the coming months. And then just finally from me, and this I promise is the final QR code, we do have a roadshow coming up next month. It's just over a month away now. A few of the team are heading across the US. We've got 4 different dates, 4 different cities. If you would like to come and meet us in person and have a beer with the team, please do so. We'd love to see you there. So you can scan the QR code there. That'll take you to a page that will list all the events. We've also got 2 events coming up in Australia too. We're doing some beach cleanup events there as well. So if you are based in Australia, you can also scan that QR code and find out more about those events as well. Great. I think that's all from me. So we are going to go over into the Q&A section. So I'm going to encourage folks to raise their hand if they haven't done so already. So if you head down to the react button at the bottom and click raise hand, you can ask your question. And we'll be happy to welcome you on stage. And Dina, I'm going to invite you on stage first. Hello.
Hi, I actually have a question. Is there any guest check-in module available? Because our village required to connect to collect the data of the guests.
Okay. Do you want to be slightly more specific? What exactly do you need to collect from your guest, Dina?
Yes, this is the name, phone, and all the people who are coming with particular guests. Just very basic.
Okay. Yeah, not today, but I think I can talk to you about how it's going to work in the future. So we have a guest portal, which is kind of a glorified online itinerary manager at the moment. We have great plans for the guest portal. What we've done recently is started to use it for ad hoc guest verification, which sounds kind of similar to your use case. It's all of the things that I need to do before someone checks in. So it's going to include rental agreements. It includes like ID verification, and it can include some additional information collection. So I need to know all the guest names. You'll be able to make those kind of fields, and that would be done through your guest portal, which will be available for all of your reservations on Hospitable. Right now, it's primarily a direct product, but it's kind of, yeah, it's got a growth trajectory to work for all of your reservations and give you that kind of home base for your location, for your eventual kind of like guidebook-like content, recommendations on where to go, etc. That will live there, and we'll have a solution for that, but we don't have it today.
Perfect. Do you know approximately when it will be available? What is the
Approximately,
time
I think I mean it's incrementally getting built, so I think look for it in kind of like a October, November kind of timeline.
Thank you very much. That would be awesome.
Thank you, Dino.
Cool. Thank you very much. Okay. Any more folks with questions? Unusually quiet so far today. Just double checking there's none in the Q&A that we want to put on stage as well.
I think people are answering them too quickly in the Q&A for us to get a chance to answer them on stage.
I know.
I think it's been along like several years of time also. So at one point, you may run out of questions. That makes me feel like we're not releasing enough features and fast enough. There is a Miri saying in the Q&A, I've been using your platform for a couple of years, and from being on this Zoom, I clearly am not aware of a lot of things that your platform offers. Great. Imagine the opposite. I would rather be in that situation. We're actually recruiting a product marketing manager that hopefully will start the position soon. And that's obviously going to be about educating the users about everything that's coming up. There is also obviously going to be for top customers, a customer success team getting built, as Derek mentioned, to keep everyone engaged with those development in the product. And we want to ship, and we want to continue shipping faster rather than slowly.
Okay. And in fact, you mentioned Miri there. Miri does have their hand raised, so I don't know if there's a follow-up question to that. Oh, he's taking it away.
I saw some movement on the corner of my eye that maybe you wanted to do some intervention. You should have cut me off. Hello, Miri. How can we help?
Well, this is my, I'm not a very tech person, so I'm very challenged. So I have a lot of things that I'm looking through your platform that like, for example, a really simple thing that I don't know how to fix. It's always, I always have to reconnect, which drives me crazy. One of the things that I had a problem that all my calendar was blocked for some weird reason, but it seems like it was coming from you guys. So I have a lot of technical that I have no idea how to deal with. So I know I can go to support, but is it you guys can offer any kind of like kind of more like this, like go through my account and see what you guys can help me to maximize it does that make sense?
Hi, Miri. Vera here, sales team. Yes, it makes absolute sense. I'm going to reach out to you directly so that we can set up an onboarding call. I'll do a bit of a review of your account before that so that we can make sure you're 100% set up. Okay?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Miri. Okay. Before someone jumps in, I've got Lisa here. Inviting Lisa on stage. Hello.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello. Yes, thank you. I have used your platform for mostly to schedule messages and to schedule cleaning, tasks that I need to have done to the 2 properties. Like Mary, I'm not totally tech wizard at all, very tech nor tech savvy. But I've been attempting to get my properties listed on booking.com, and it's a really difficult platform. It's very user unfriendly, and I have been unable to figure out how to collect payment from booking.com. And I was wondering if you guys had a platform for those kind of users as myself that would like to, have another platform aside from just like VRBO and Airbnb that I'm on currently.
One quick question, Lisa. Where are you based?
I'm in Fairfield, California.
Yeah, that's what the accent tells me, that you don't speak English the same way that I do. So I'm fully expecting that the payment processing bit, actually by Booking, could be sorted out by Booking.com directly. Since in the US, yeah, Booking.com can process the payments, but that is likely an option that you need to configure on your extranet. Totally in agreement, or everything you say about the state of the platform as Booking.com for short-term rentals or vacation rentals for hosts in particular, rather than hotels, where the motivation and incentives are very, very different altogether. For the connectivity side of things, so you have the intro of Akan, also joined by Dimitri on the connectivity team. That's what we were talking about earlier. One of the big projects is really improving the state of a Booking.com integration, as Booking.com has themselves made plenty of progress in the past few months. And so we want to work with them on having a more seamless integration. That's definitely is expected to be completed by the end of this year. I'm not going to be the one committing to any kind of timeline, but we definitely, I mean, Booking.com is extremely motivated on growing market share in the US. Extremely motivated is quite the understatement, really. And they decided to work with property managers property management companies and property managers together to basically make sure that the experience is a bit more aligned with what we have learned to expect from other OTAs. So yeah, how can we help you, Lisa?
Well,
today?
Basically, that was just my question, in that, I have been able to use Hospitable, and you guys have been a godsend with sending messages, scheduled messages to my guests, and the two platforms, VRBO and Airbnb. I just would like to extend that over to Booking.com. I know that Hotels.com does use the platform of VRBO, so that's very helpful. With Expedia and Hotels.com. But as far as Booking.com, that's just the animal I would love to be able to somewhat, conquer just the least bit. But I've just been have lots of challenges with it. So the main thing is that collection of fees. So hopefully, yes, I'm excited to hear that you guys and that they're motivated to try to set something up, and so that I can use the platform, definitely. And if that also, would you be able, are you looking to expand the calendars and information from the guests that come in from that platform, Booking.com, and messaging out to them as well?
Yeah, those are features that are already existing for Booking.com with the current scope of the integration. That's going to expand to offer a more seamless integration, so that basically you will be able to ultimately push your listing and your content directly to Booking without having to interface with Booking itself. So we have the content, we'll have the pictures. The ideal experience that we want to get is getting you on Booking.com without ever setting your eyes to Booking.com's extranet. So that's going to be coming actually nicely in conjunction of two things. So there's the work that needs to be done by a connectivity team with Booking.com. Talked about that in a previous channel at the beginning of the month of August. I'm not keeping you accountable for not reading that. That's definitely the expectation.
Sorry.
That's why we repeat the thing. No. We repeat this thing over and over. If you are a usual of this kind of channels, it kind of feels so repetitive that we need to say the story 10 times. And then we're having plenty of people that still don't know. That's fine. That's a game. That's a game that we're playing. But that's also will go nicely with ad hoc guest verification and expansion of direct premium features onto all connectivity partners. One of the problems that you're going to be facing, that is being faced by hosts as they work with Booking.com, is the fact that since the ideal persona for Booking is that of a hotel manager, there is no system in place for you to process payments, because you can do your pay by card literally at the reception at check-in time. There is no guest verification because it's an hotel. You're going to have so many layers of systems and verification already. You take less risk. and it's not like a $5 million property. And you also have the insurance component of it. And so we're working with the product team right now to basically make sure that this is going to be available across channels. Start with direct. We're very happy with what we got already in terms of success with direct. Now it needs to be the expected experience across all channels. Some channels, it will be useless. Some channels will be very useful. And I think booking.com is particularly one of those. Andrew, what do you think about that?
Thank you. Yes, that sounds awesome. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing what you're able to do. You said not willing to, I guess, say, but you're maybe the end of the year, you're saying you may have?
For the complete piece, I would say, but that's where Andrew wants to say something. And Sam,
I think Lisa's immediate needs. I think, Lisa, you should be speaking with Booking.com about this, not with Hospitable support. If you need to get payments set up, that is not something that we interact with at all at the moment with the integration. So I think I would definitely be spending time getting on the phone or in a support ticket with Booking to help you get that figured out. The future stuff that we talked about is going to help you, but I hope that you can get this solved before we're releasing our increased capabilities on Booking.com. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much, Lisa.
And just to tack on to what PC was just saying earlier, that distribution, so taking an existing listing from another platform and putting it somewhere else, that's not going to stop at Booking. It's not going to stop at Booking.com. We also want to roll that distribution out to other platforms as well. We mentioned this a couple of town halls back, but yeah, we want to be able to do that on Airbnb, Agoda. We want to be able to do that for the other platforms as well. So yeah, we'll get to that. It's not just Booking. There will be other OTAs involved, and we can start to help distribute your listings so you don't have to touch those platforms, and you can avoid extranets and things like that. Hopefully.
Cool. Thank you, Sam. Okay, inviting Robert on stage now. Hello, Robert.
Yes, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are in the world. So I've been successfully using Hospitable for about a year now, and very, very pleased with the product, the enhancements, etc. Makes my life so much easier to have everything in one platform, in one dashboard. Now, I'm obviously on a computer right now talking to you, and I have Hospitable on this computer. I have a second computer that is in my office, and I have been trying to gain access to Hospitable on the new computer. I understand the technical request that comes out and says, we don't recognize this device, go to your email and accept it. The problem I have currently is that the email system I'm using with my business is so slow that by the time the message comes in, it's expired. So they give you like 15 minutes to get the email and acknowledge it. And unfortunately, my email sometimes comes in 20, 25 minutes after I made the initial request. Can I work with somebody to get this resolved in such a way that,
Yeah, Robert, sorry, I'm going to let Jen jump in here, and she's going to be able to probably help you with the situation.
Oh, yeah. The timing, that's tricky, right? Especially if you've got an email client that's holding it. Chat us from your account. We can kind of get a couple other pieces of information from you just to verify it's really you, and then we can send you that link via chat as well. So bottom right-hand corner of your chat, of your Hospitable account, chat us from there.
So I go to the new computer, I try to log into Hospitable. It then says, we just sent you an email, and then do the chat?
Yep, just chat us in general from your account. We're pretty live nowadays, actually, which is awesome. So we should be able to help you in that moment and get you all set.
All right. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I think we've got time to squeeze in maybe one more. We have Erica, who's been waiting a little while. So Erica, inviting you on stage. Hello.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I'm calling from Phoenix. So my question is regarding, and I apologize if this was a little late, but I did see that you guys were going to integrate QuickBooks. Now, regarding the integration with QuickBooks, to what extent, I think the biggest hurdle for me right now is how costly it is to have bookkeeping. So is there bookkeeping within that integration, or how exactly, like I said, I think I missed that portion of it, the extent of those integrations are going to be with QuickBooks into Hospitable.
Hey, Erica, what do you call bookkeeping?
Bookkeeping would be recording all the transactions, giving a P&L, profit and loss, basic things. We have currently just one property. But because I'm in a partnership, neither of us want to do all that documenting of expenses and whatnot. So we have hired that out to a third party. So I guess I'm asking, to what extent is the QuickBooks integration with Hospitable?
Yeah. Emily, you want to jump in?
I can. So we don't have a ton of super detailed stuff to share at this point. We're still doing a little bit of discovery with our partner on this, but we did chat today and talked a little bit about like a phased approach and how this will most likely look like. I think the earliest version of this will look like you connecting your existing QuickBooks account to Hospitable. And whenever you publish an owner statement in Hospitable, the revenue that's represented on that statement and the transactions that are represented on that statement are then going to get synced with your QuickBooks account as a journal entry, and they'll already be mapped accordingly because we already know from when you added it to Hospitable, the property that it's associated with, the category that transaction belongs in, whether it's maintenance or whatever.
Got it.
So that's the idea, is it should be as little work for you as possible. It's not an accountant, but the syncing part of it is going to be handled. And then there is potential for future iterations on that, where we can even allow some customization with like mapping if you do anything super fancy, but that's probably like the less common use case. I think most people will be able to be served with this first version.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that helps a lot, because I think that's the hardest part right now, is just getting all that synced, all of those categories matched up accordingly. So I mean, that would be a big help. Okay, I think that was my big question. Can't wait for it to roll out.
Yeah, we cannot wait that either. There is a feature where we'll help you chase down your receipts and invoices or the other expenses part of the bookkeeping. But for now, yeah, the objective is being able to help you recognize your revenue from OTA, direct reservations, and any other extra ancillary revenue that Hospitable can be aware of. So yeah,
I think we may be going to call it there today, unfortunately. There's still a few more hands raised, but we're not going to get to everyone, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can always send an email to sales@hospitable.com for anything related to Mogul at the minimum. Vera wanted to show up on screen very briefly, probably to hate on me. But you should always do that if basically you're interested by owner statements as a new feature. You guys are having plenty of questions, and I think that's totally warranted. We are still in a phase where we offer this unlimited trial for a few of your properties so that you can verify the numbers and build trust. Obviously, send us also some great feedback so that we can keep iterating. I'm looking forward to the next town hall because it's going to be I'm hoping for a great update on AI, where we are able to use your history of messages to generate new responses for new ones. And so that's something that we're doing very often. We don't know how that's going to work. We don't know what the AI is going to do. So when you're going to see some posts on social media about something being completely irrelevant, just remember, there is no such thing as a finished product. It's always a game of iteration. We're flagging this. Please send us your feedback, whether you have a thumbs down or thumbs up approach, and we are flagging those for review whenever we have some time. We prefer that immensely over waiting 6 months. We have great confidence, and then it fails anyway, because no plan survives contact with the enemy or release to production. And yeah, and the last thing that I hope you guys can be also looking forward to is having Andrew talking about other things than direct. As he's demonstrated, he's totally capable of talking about OTA connectivity, which actually moves the needle a lot for a business, and that's why we want to hire a new senior PM. But yeah, we are very excited to have a new direct product manager, direct team, and new product managers, and there is still one that we need to hire. But yeah, there is no anxiety there. Andrew is going to be talking a lot in those town halls, nonetheless. It's me that basically should not be talking. Thank you. Great founder mode, supposedly. No. I'm gonna see post something on LinkedIn later on that. Ciao. Have a great rest of your day. Fantastic having you. See you in 2 weeks' time.